and welcome to the WHYcast, episode 31. I'm Nancy,
Hi, Matt.
and we are the hosts of the only podcast about a hacker camp in the universe. This volunteer-run event will take place this year in the Netherlands, approximately 42 kilometers north of Amsterdam. North is hard when you're having a bad cold, from August 8th to 12th, 2025. So, Ad, what are we talking about today?
Well, as every time, we are talking about news. We have a cool interview. We have some where to hack tips. We have the vacancies of the week. And we have a listener question.
Perfect. So, full show ahead of us. So let's start
Absolutely.
with the news. Uh, hay fever season has started, as you can hear.
That's the
But
most
also,
important news from this entire episode. Yes.
so sorry for my sound quality at the
Yeah, well.
moment. The CFP closes in 1 month from now because it's the 25th of April right now, and the CFP closes on Towel Day, which is the 25th of May.
Yes.
And also, it's only 105 days left until the start
Woo!
of Why. Oh
And
my
still so
goodness.
much to do.
Oh, still, but also a lot
Yeah,
has been done. So thanks again to
definitely.
all the amazing volunteers that are putting so much love and energy in to make everything happen.
Yep.
Also, I did some interviews at Field Day,
Hmm.
and sometimes I make a F up because I forgot to put on noise cancellation on the microphones, and there were a lot of people there. So these interviews are not usable for the YCast, which is a shame. But also, it's a nice reason to do a shout out right now. We would love to interview more people about their plans with their villages. So, if you have organized a village and it's on the wiki, I think there are approximately 72 villages right now. I haven't checked the latest numbers, but we would love to hear your ideas, things that you are going to do, like the one we did with Nelis the Nerd on Setserts, but also Milliways. We would love to hear your plans for camp because it's cool to share and also cool for other listeners to know where to look out for. So please reach out to ycast at y2025.org. Send us an email, let us know, and we will plan an interview.
Or
Um,
if you want, you can record a short clip of yourself just in front of the mirror or with your entire team.
yeah, sure.
And send that in. It's also fine. I mean, there's
Also
there's
fine.
over 80 villages on the list currently.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's cool.
If you have no clue what villages are about, please listen to episode 30, where it's very well explained by Marijn
Yeah.
IJsselpalm. But that's over 80. That's great news. So it should be possible to have some villages on the show. Cool. We are nearing the 3,000 tickets sold.
Yes, yes. Just a couple more. Just a couple more.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I hoped to be sold out by my birthday. That is not going to happen because that's very, very quick.
Hmm.
Um, but I think we will be sold out soon-ish. But yeah, nearing the 3,000 tickets. I think that's great news. Also, this is the last week of limitless merch ordering. So after this week, you can still order merch, but there's a limit to it because it will be sent out to the manufacturer by the end of this month, beginning of May. So if you haven't ordered your merch yet, please do so. Go to the website, go to tickets.y2025.org. You can find the merch there. Note
Yes.
that you can only order merch when you have a ticket to the event, and you can only pick up the merch on the event itself. So we are not sending out stuff. So if you have a ticket and you want to have merch, head over to the website and buy your merch because it's cool merch.
Definitely, definitely. Very cool designs. There's stuff for everyone, from rather simple
Babies,
to
kids,
intricate.
anything.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Also on the news, I think it's pretty cool that the people from Phrack Magazine reached out to us that we have a page in the next Phrack episode.
Yes.
Magazine. So Team Promo is working on that. So please have a look out for the next Phrack Magazine. We will share a link in the show notes, of course, because why will be in it? Yoo-hoo!
Woohoo.
Awesome. Okay, so we are going to have an interview with someone very interesting as well. Can you tell a little bit about it, Ad?
Well, Robert, number 3, who we all know from episodes 25 and episode 26. He co-hosted 25 and he had an interview with Florian at Hacker Hotel, which is in episode 26. And now you had an interview with number 3, with Robert, on the why transcripts.
Yes, let's listen to him. Oh, not yet. You
Not
want to
yet.
say
Well,
something else?
I mean, it's a great way to increase accessibility because you can not only watch us, you can listen to us, but you can also read us now. So that is just an extra way to be able to access information. And Robert made it all possible.
Let's just do this.
Zo is het. We staan naast elkaar, komt helemaal goed.
Yes.
En
Kijk, zo.
de deur gaat nog even heen en weer. Dat is helemaal goed. Love you! Ik denk dat ik het tegen jou heb. is ook waar hoor, Robert. Maar, so, you're back, number 3. Welcome back in the show. And this is going to be like a meta interview, I think.
An interview about a question you asked and an idea we had, and we then created something, and you wanted to know how it was done. So.
And then how it was done, and that will be transcribed into a blog because of what you have done. So interesting.
Yeah.
So
that'll be interesting.
This sounds all a little bit cryptic. Let me rephrase this for the listeners. Robert told me I would like to do something with transcription of the WHYcast because some people rather read than listen to information that is given. I think you are creating cool content with lovely interviews. Maybe we can find a creative way to repurpose that on the website as well. And then you were like, okay, trust me, I'm an engineer. I will handle this. So can you please tell me what you did with the WHYcast, I try to say.
Well, what we did to the WHYcast.
For the WHYcast.
So the simple version is we transcribed it and then we converted it to a blog. But the reality of the situation was the idea is simple enough. And there's lots of tools out there right now that people can use, the commercially available. But what about our open source stuff that we can use?
Mm-hmm.
Now, lots of people will know about Whisper, and if they don't know, Whisper is a model by OpenAI that you can use to do speech to text transcription.
Mm-hmm.
You can take audio and convert it to text, and in many languages, so Dutch, English, but all kinds of languages, hundreds. So the idea was to find a project or something and then start from there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I did. I looked it up. I started using Fast Whisper, which is a fork of the original product.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And from that, so I took Faster Whisper. It's a GitHub repo, and I looked at the example code there. And I thought I can do this. So I made a small POC. Just for all clarity, I have a Copilot for GitHub account. Mm-hmm. So I bought it like 2 years ago when Copilot came out. I was a beta tester. Back then it was just code completion. And slowly they've been adding some features like code chat and code edit. And it was interesting because the example I started with was a simple Python script where I would take the MP3 and then just create a transcription out of it. That was the original idea to get that done. Well, simply said, that was done in like 5 minutes because the sample code it's not that hard.
No.
You download it. but what I wanted to do was add a little bit more stuff. So I started playing around with the new features. I hadn't played around with the Copilot stuff for a while, so that was like, okay, well, so what can I do with this? And from that, in about hour and a half, 2 hours, I spent playing around. I had a program that would fetch the RSS feed, download the latest episode, transcribe it, um, and then clean it up using an OpenAI backend. Created some prompts for that, then summarize it, and then from that summarization, I would build a blog. And I did that in a time space initially of 2 hours. I have a POC running.
Awesome.
I was just blown away myself because I didn't know how far along we were on this track that you could actually do it. Simple as that. I can code. I'm a good C programmer. I can read Python. I can spend some time doing Python and writing stuff, but nothing that ends up being a 1,500 lines of code program in just a short time like that.
Crazy.
So that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I've been playing around with AI stuff a lot in the last 2 years. So it was fun to actually play around, build a prompt to actually extract information and clean up the code, clean up the text, and then create a summarization out of that. But once those prompts were written, it felt like you would just say, "Oh, add this, add that." So that was my initial first night.
And it was so weird to read back my own podcast. It was so weird to read it back. And of course, you had to do some tweaks because Ott is a very hard name, presumably.
Yeah. So that's where my second discovery came in, because I was talking to some people on how on my experience. They said, "Oh, have you tried Cursor.ai yet?" I'm like, "No," because I'm a Copilot user on GitHub. So I installed that. I got a 2-week test account to play around with the pro version. And that blew me away because that agent-based coding assistance, it's like peer coding. So you just say, so I started with what Ed's name is interesting. By the way, WHY2025, that's another interesting one because it transcribes as literally a Y.
The letter Y.
The letter Y, and then 2025, but also like SHA 2017. It will actually transcribe it as shot. SHOT, 2017. So I had to build like this little word list that would actually take the transcription and then convert it into the right words.
Yeah.
I did that after a few transcriptions and figured out that there were some words that were not really transcribing very well. Like Ad's name, because it came out as AT, just ADD. Add. So there's several versions of his name that I had to correct. And I just said, well, I have this little list. Could you while transcribing, use this vocabulary table and
to
then
find and replace.
Find and replace the words live during the transcription. But using Cursor, it became simple. I said, I just started add this feature to the code. And within a few minutes, actually, it added it to the code in the right place. And so I went from a simple script to a full-blown program with all kinds of options. So you can regenerate all blogs now. You can have alternative prompts. But also I started adding this word list feature. And then one of the things you guys did in the first 27 or 28 now episodes is you talk about history, quite a few specific moments in several podcasts where you have to looking back at previous events.
Yeah, or war stories from older events.
From all the events. Niels, like Niels talked about in the last episode from last week, where he actually talks about his experience of SHA 2017.
Yeah.
So if you have to go and pick these out and write them out, well, there's already a transcription. So why not ask AI to actually figure it out and then just write it as a separate text? So I played around with ChatGPT and the O1 model to figure out a prompt to actually do that. And that's been included now as well. So I just asked again. I friendly asked Cursor AI to help me out again.
Yeah.
And it adds that type of feature quite quickly. And so it's been a month now, and the program is getting pretty mature because I've recently added speaker identification. So actually,
What
when
is that?
so speaker, most of the times you have two hosts, sometimes three,
Yeah,
sometimes you have a guest.
yeah.
So these are different voices. So there's
Okay,
another
okay,
model.
okay.
There's another model that can actually figure out what
Speaking.
voices are there, who's speaking basically, and then it will identify, oh, this is speaker zero, this is speaker one, this is speaker two, this is speaker zero. And with that, you get a transcription which actually not just says timestamps and the actual text being transcribed, but also which speaker was saying it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so that's the next step. So I'm trying to figure out how we can use that because you always say your name at the beginning of the show, right?
I think I'm going to warn my mom now for fake calls because there's so much
Content from you, yeah, out
so
there.
much content for me. Yeah, but that's also a nice security awareness thing, right? To be aware that these models can do this. So
Well, these
they
models
can
can
take,
recognize your voice and they
yeah,
can split it out between.
yeah.
So the funny thing, I did some experimentations over the weekend after building this, and actually I switched from Cursor AI because last week the GitHub agent mode dropped, which is basically a feature very similar to Cursor AI, but now included in the Copilot for GitHub. And I'm not making. I mean, there's several of these tools out there, like Windsurf as well. I'm just a Copilot user, and the funny thing is that that new feature, it's called Agent Mode, is basically doing the same stuff,
Yeah.
and it's just it's a new way of programming. It's pair programming with an AI, and you just basically say, oh, use this or try that, and it's impressive, I think.
It's pretty
The
cool.
funny thing is with the transcription now with diarization. So I have a transcription of every episode with who the speakers are. And the next little experiment I did over the weekend is use again OpenAI's O1 model and just ask it to identify based on what was being said in the episode who is saying what. So it already has like speaker one, two, three, and zero in every episode, and it identifies. But you always say, "Oh, I'm Nancy, I'm Art, or I'm Chantal, or I was in one
So
where
you can
I'm Robert."
construct
So
it.
we can actually reconstruct who is saying what during the actual who is the actual speaker, basically,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
introducing someone in your section.
Yeah.
And these models can actually try to figure out who is saying what. And then it will just end up being a transcription, which Chantal said this, and then she said this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's escalating a little bit, but
But although I made a little joke about giving prank calls or scam calls to my mom, there are worries in our community as well around the subject, right? Things like sustainability, water usage. There are a lot of cons to so many the other way around. What are your thoughts on that? Because I know you love using it, you love playing around with it, but you're also a conscious and smart human being. So I presume you have also an opinion on that, because I can imagine that people are worrying about it, right? What do you think?
And so with every new technology comes great responsibility. And I think that is one of the things that we have to look at, definitely. If you ask my opinion, I think the models are just tools. Yes, they're using energy because there's lots of calculations going on, right? It's at this point it's not energy efficient. If our brain would do this, we would all like our heads would explode by the amount of energy being produced. So right now we're not in a phase where this type of technology can actually be like energy-wise be cheaply executed. And there's this definite worry that every usage of these tools will actually use a lot of energy, water, and I think there's a bigger concern for a lot of people, not just because I think this is a sustainability, and not that it's solved tomorrow, but there will become a situation where these hardware calculations will happen in technologies that are less energy heavy.
Heavy, yeah.
So
And what
that's my view. I mean, I think it will change over time, but
Yeah.
right now it's not efficient.
No. And how about the privacy part of things? Because I also know that artists, journalists, writers, creators
So
are
there's
also a bit worried about it. Yeah, there's two things. There's
there's
like
two things.
using content but also or using content created by human beings and stealing that, and also the privacy part of things, like you said. It will recognize me. What will happen with my data over time?
Right. So if you're worried, then stop using any open social media platforms, I guess.
Okay, fair.
Because I think most of us gave away lots of information the last 15 years or something, ever since social media came up, because those were the first. I mean, that's why Meta has so many GPUs running around in the world. That's why Google has been investing in AI for forever. It's because they've been training models, and at first it was like suggestion on the next content you wanted to see. And hey, they've been investing in these types of technology for over 20 years now. Should we worry about privacy? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For example, this type of technology, I remember, so let me go back. Last year I was at DEF CON in the US, and one of the reasons I was there, I wanted to see what the progress was on AI models being used in security and in defense and offensive scenarios. And I was at Black Hat as well. And I went to several of these talks. And one of the most scary things I saw is you have a village there. It's a social engineering village, which they basically have a little game. They put you in a box and you have to score 3 flags. You get 5 minutes or 10 minutes in that audio box, and you get a dial tone. They dial the number for you, and you get connected to a random person at like a company, and then you have to score like what the rules are, if someone is fired, what kind of admin rights they might have, stuff like that. And you have to do it through a social engineering conversation.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. I mean, you sit there for 2 hours and you see people try and fail, but also have big wins. And it's the game that is fun. And one of the things on Saturday they did a competition, human versus AI. So the university team built an AI system based on call center software and all the current models. And we're talking August last year, right?
Yeah.
And they would actually, both teams had prior knowledge on who they would be sent into, and they would know what type of flags they would have to score. And they would get points for every flag they made during the call, but they didn't know who they would talk to. So you had to be flexible. You had to have a scenario. So you had to build. So the human team actually built scenarios that they could just go through, and they prepped. But the AI, they had to program ahead of time.
Yeah.
It was shocking because humans won by like one flag. Which is not a lot, because if you think about those sessions were about 20 minutes each, and they were just, the AI was just amazing with 11 labs voices, the voices that are really sounding realistic, and they would set up the story like they would call, and they start with saying, "Oh, we're experiencing some problems in our telephone system, and there might be some delay on the line," giving them an excuse. So the prompting could actually respond within like it's sub-second, like 800 milliseconds. But anything over 500 makes humans like worry about what's going on. And seeing that made me realize that this and they had a big discussions after that game. But seeing this, I mean, it's scalable, right? Data centers, call center software, you can just spin it up in the cloud and do thousands of calls like this. And that's where the actual scary part comes in. If you now can program your and prompt your models in a way that you can set up these scams with scenarios, and there's not an Indian data center or call center anymore.
But I also have seen it the other way around with the fake
with
grandma.
the UK, with the fake grandma, or keeping but that, I mean, that's inspiring because it's going both ways, right?
That was a defensive AI
that was
model.
a defensive model.
Just to keep them on the phone.
Right, but and in the so they have during the WHYcon they have the villages, and the other village was the AI offensive village, where they had adversary village, where they had different kinds of stories on how AI can be used for offensive uses, and the same guy actually did a presentation there as well that just lost the game, but they did some playback on how do you call that? Kidnap scenarios.
Kidnap, okay.
Yeah, so people were told ahead of time that they could be called. They didn't know if they would, but they could be called and something could be happening to them, but they wouldn't be told what it was ahead of time. So ethics was out of the way. It was voluntary. And then people were called, and then the AI would share with them. They would always in this person. And then they would share, your son has been kidnapped and you have to make a ransom pay. And they would actually play back the voice of the person that was kidnapped. And they would just drop the line and call back a few minutes later. And you would hear that in playback. And you're like, that's scary. I mean, not just on an individual level. If you multiply it by, let's say, 1,000 times, even if like 2% will take it, and pay 100,000 euros or something, that's like that's a doable scenario right now already. So I mean, it's
and to bring it back to where we started, the only thing to really truly, I think, learn to understand how this could work and what the threats can be, but also it's like red teaming, blue teaming. What you can do to prevent stuff is also by fiddling around with it and playing around with it and figuring out and doing something quite innocent like transcribing and turning a WHYcast into a blog. You have to gain the knowledge if you are a security expert.
Yeah, but if you would have asked me to do this like 2 years ago, when this stuff was already out, it would have taken me several weeks to program. It would have not been as fancy as it's been now. Not all the models would have been out there, so that has progressed. Specifically, I used a few of the open AI backends. I could run them local, like a 5.4 model. You can actually run on your laptop if you have a modern laptop with some GPU support. Because I run the Whisper model locally. So it's getting there. I mean, it's getting to the point where, okay, you can run this all local, so your privacy is guaranteed. You can even run a decent model that can generate text based on transcript that can actually generate a blog and upload it. Now, I used OpenAI because why not? I could have used Gemini or Claude, but I like the models from OpenAI, and I wanted to gain more experience there. So like you said, it's also a way to learn stuff. I'm just shocked that 2 years after these tools came out, like Copilot for GitHub, and then
how quickly it's
escalating right now.
Absolutely.
And into this where, okay, I'm still a programmer, but I'm not doing the coding anymore. I'm talking to the model saying, I want to add this feature. Here you have some documentation. I feed it. I steer. I'm basically like the term has been used a lot since February, where they start to talk about vibe coding, right? It's pair programming with your AI peer,
Yep.
and I think that's the interesting part right now because once we're beyond this phase, hey, will non-programmers be able to do this?
Yeah.
And where does that stop? I mean,
And what's the quality of the code then, and the security? And because that you still
that's
need
the other one.
other knowledge for it to actually create proper secure code, right?
So that that was one of the DEF CON challenges. That'll be the final will be this year where they can win 2 million euro or dollars. And there's a competition going on where you can use AI to actually identify 0 days or problems in your code. And there were multiple teams doing that this year, and they already found more than they initially thought was in the code.
Wow. Yeah.
And
so it's also two sides of the same coin, right?
Yep. Yeah. So defense is going to be helped with this a lot, and there's probably more on the blue side in being invested. But on the other side, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of money going around in criminal circuits, and that's less visible to all of us. So, I mean, it's an interesting time we live in.
It is. And it's
going back to the other question you asked. I mean, all these models are trained on all the content available online, and maybe more. And is it stolen? And I didn't evade that, but I think it's interesting that we asked that question because I think there's a lot to figure out. I hope a lot of the talks this year will also start addressing the more ethical discussions.
The ethical side of things. Yeah. Like the whole Ghibli meme that is going on, or it's not a meme, but you can Ghiblify yourself. Right. How ethical is it if you take someone's art and turn it in? If it were a human being, would it be different?
Well, you're not allowed to fake a Van Gogh and sell it as a Van Gogh.
True. So I think
Van Gogh won't get money if I paint a Van Gogh and say it's done by Robert. Then Van Gogh will never get, and their heirs will never get some money from the stuff I sell.
I think we will have loads and loads of interesting discussions on the field this year about.
I'll have some flag now.
These kinds of topics. Yeah,
I think we need to figure this out because this is going to happen if we like it or not right now.
True.
And I think the governance on a worldwide global scale is not there. I mean, even though the AI Act is interesting, we're not enforcing it. And like I was listening to. I don't know. Have you ever seen The Social Dilemma?
Yeah.
So they did the AI dilemma 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. The same guys, and they're the Center of Humane Technology, and they did that presentation on how AI is impacting, and that particular statement that said every new technology comes with great responsibility.
Yeah.
Is basically they're doing a podcast every week.
What a morons.
Yeah, some people.
Just kidding.
But it was funny to listen to because they had the guys from that. Do you remember there was 3M and PFAS problems in the US? There's a documentary, Dark Water.
Yeah.
And they had a lawyer that did that. And they had a discussion with him because that was technology in like the 50s and 60s, right? That came out with great responsibility. Did a lot of research about the problems with that kind of chemical, the forever chemicals, and it has these parallels with the new technologies that are coming out right now and the responsibilities that are coming along with it. And they're trying to address this.
It has been there with 3D printing as well, right? You can 3D print a gun or a device
or a Tyrera.
Or a Tyrera, or what's it called? It's a prosthetic arm, for instance, in somewhere in the third world or in the first world or wherever.
It's in the end, it's the people that are doing it, right? But
yes. And
at this point.
it's good to have this discussion ongoing with the different point of views, and I think that is where why comes in, where we bring these people together to have this type of conversations that are so very essential for our future. I think.
I think
What way are we heading with this?
I think going back to the original question and the idea that came up, can we transcribe and repurpose the content and make it more accessible? I think we can. And yes, there's some questions that you can ask. Well, these transcription models, what were they trained on? But in the end, is it worth it? Is it bringing us stuff that we wouldn't have otherwise?
True.
But on the other hand, you can have the same discussion. Hey, are we taking out a human that could have transcribed this on a weekly basis that would have got paid for it?
Or should we use the AI to create a podcast and not do it with real people?
Ooh, notebook alarm.
That's also what's going
so
on.
I think
already.
it's a tool.
Yeah.
Let's agree on it's right now. It's a tool, and let's use the tool where it's good, but let's keep the human part in there.
And it leads to nice conversation. So
yeah,
that's
it's an open-ended discussion. So let's have the discussion as why.
Absolutely.
I would love to see a lot of people putting in CFPs around ethical, but also about adversarial AI stuff. If they have great
also
artists,
tell us what you think. Yeah.
I mean, if I think about the CFP options that people have right now, I know many people are playing around with this.
Yeah.
And I would love to see more CFPs this year around AI and what you can do for good or what ethical or political discussions we need to have.
Yeah.
IP, interesting part of the discussion.
Very cool.
Let's hope a lot of people listen to this one and
I hope a lot of people are also okay with the fact that we make beautiful blogs out of this silly idea that was the WHYcast at one point, and now we now have a lot of episodes in.
Yeah, one thing I would like to finish out with, because it's a blog, but it's generated based on an actual transcription. So the way we prompted, and Art texted me this week, was this really sad in the episode about healthcare and being problematic? And you did the interview with Niels. And I said, well, I prompted it so it would be accurate to the actual transcript. And I looked at the text and it wasn't a transcript. And he listened to the episode. He's like, damn, he actually said that. And like, well, that's the power of these tools. If you prompt them correctly, they will just use what's there. They won't come up with facts and hallucinate stuff. But you have to do it properly.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
I will just still do the interviews, although I know an AI could replace me.
No, don't.
Robert, thank you so much for all the hard work, effort, and love you are putting in the event and this interview. And we'll speak to you
soon.
And
I open sourced it.
Oh, you open sourced it. Awesome. So we can share a link to your GitHub somewhere in the show notes. Okay, we will do that. Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. See you next time.
So I think we could have talked for hours and hours and hours on end about the subject, but we will have a 5-day camp for it. So let's proceed this conversation over there. I think that's a great idea. So now let's talk about where to hack.
Each week we will share where you can find why-minded people, where to hack.
We can go to the Open Search Con, which is April 3rd and May 1st. And this is in Amsterdam, in the Mövenpick Hotel, Amsterdam city center. It's an annual conference that brings the open search community together to learn, connect, and collaborate. So if searching is your thing, go search them in Amsterdam.
Absolutely. And I also think it's organized by the Linux Foundation, and they reached out to us that they want to make some noise around why as well. So let's return the favor by this and go to OpenSearchCon.
Yes, definitely. if you want to see something cool up north in the Netherlands, you can go on May 2nd to Groningen, to B-Sides Groningen in the Puddingfabriek.
Yes. What I did see is that it is sold out for now. But you can. They have a link there to a ticket swap thing.
Ticket exchange.
So
Yeah.
thank you. So if you want to go, you might want to try and get a ticket anyways.
Yeah.
So
cool.
a big shout out to B-Sides.
Yeah. And at the same time, there is a hackathon from the Wikimedia. That is the software that runs all the wikis.
Yeah.
The Wikimedia Hackathon 2025, May 2nd to 4th in Istanbul, Turkey. Is that sold out, or can you still get tickets?
Don't know. I haven't checked.
Registration
that
is
much?
now closed. We are at capacity.
Oh.
So
But
they
at
just
least it's
sold
good
out.
to know that people are going to do a hackathon on the Media Wiki, and that's the software that we use for a while as well.
Yeah.
So thank you all for improving this software.
And a couple of days later, something we have mentioned before, the CFPizza night.
Yes. Which is
organization,
very cool.
Yeah, the organization of WHYcon and OrangeCon together will help you get your CFP going with tips and tricks.
27 people signed up. We still have place for more.
Yes. Where is it?
It is in Amersfoort. So it's in Amersfoort. Cool thing is that Henry spoke to Fish from OrangeCon, and he was like, "Oh, that sounds very cool. Our CFP is open as well, so I will hop by. So you can ask him anything you want as well. It's not only for the conferences WICCON and OrangeCon. If you have another CFP that you want to fill out, please feel free to come. The tips and tricks will be general, or you can use it for any CFP. But the people who will review the CFPs for these 3 conferences will be there. So you can ask them anything, and I think that's an amazing opportunity. It is hybrid, so you can go to Amersfoort, but you can also join in online. So you can find all the information at the meetup page, which we will link in the show notes below.
Yes, excellent. And with that, I think we have to go to the vacancies of the week.
Plural, still.
And they might get a bit predictable now. We need coordinators for parking and merch.
Which is great fun, according to Bas. And I think if you want to play shop, go to the merch vacancy. If you like puzzles and Sudokus and Tetris, you might want to consider the parking coordinator spot. But also, if you want to help us, and by us I mean Team Info, Team Promo, us Team Info, I'm Team Promo, and together we do the WHYcast. We could really use some help with writing copy, because we have loads of ideas and not that much time left to actually write up all the things. Also, we could could use help with the WHYcast to arrange interviews or do interviews for the WHYcast. So if you like to write, or like to interview, or like to help us out promote the event, please do reach out to us, to Team Info, to Team Promo, to Team WHYcast, because we could really use your help.
Yep, definitely. And if you are at an event and people are apparently not looking at why yet, slip them some stickers. Talk to them.
I will be surprised if people still haven't heard of it. But we are still making noise at all kinds of different events.
Yep.
I was speaker at a big customer 2 weeks ago, and of course, I have why in all my presentations, and he came up afterwards and said, "Oh, this is so cool! I'm going to go to a hacker camp for the first time in my life, and now you have it in your presentation. That's so cool to see." So, why people are everywhere.
Nice.
Yep.
And one of those why people, one of those why-minded people, has sent us an email with a question. So, listener questions. I finally managed to come up with a new question, says Pink. Because
Go
Pink had
Pink.
already sent in a few questions, and there was a new one. At a previous camp, there was payments done with special bar cards. And you could buy those at the info desk with cash, PIN, or credit card. And then you could use those cards at everything at the event. How is this done at Why?
Cheers, Pink.
Yes.
So, of course, I asked it. I asked Team Finance, which is Henry, of course, and of course, there's a link on the wiki. That's the Why payment system, so you can read all about it there. But the answer that I got from Henry was, we have regular bank card, credit card payments on the field, just like MCH 2022. Cash money can be exchanged into money on a MyFair Classic card at the info desk, which can serve as a payment card during the event. We are looking into options to have the payment service also deployed at villages, but this is still in the development phase. So the best trick that we have is keep an eye out on the wiki. There will be more info there, and if we have any updates on it, we will share that at a later stage. But that is the answer that we have for now.
Yes.
And we checked all the other channels, and no other questions came in.
I haven't seen them. I just
Lovely
checked
remarks about the bleep track logo generator, and other cool remarks and ideas on how we can improve why.
Yeah.
So keep up responding to all the channels, because that helps a lot for our visibility as well.
Yes, we read them. The algorithm likes it. But if you have questions and feedback, down below in the doobly-doo on the YouTubes, you can send us an email at WHY2025.org. And don't forget to like and subscribe and click all the things. With that, I think we're at the end of episode 31.
Woohoo!
Thank you all so much for listening, and hope to see you next Friday.
WHYday!